Welcome back to another Numbers on the Board YouTube exclusive, the Halloween edition. You feel me?
Ooh.
You're not scaring nobody over there, Sully.
That's his whole job as Sully, to be scary, though.
He not scaring nobody.
Okay. Well, on today's episode, we're continuing our theme of talking about our favorite moments from every different division. Today, we got the Southwest. I want to start off. What is your favorite moment with the Memphis Grizzlies?
Probably just like the grit and grind era, like that whole Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, Tony Allen, Marcus Gasol, and Zach Randolph. That whole era of them being very good and like having a dominant bigs, being down there, the high-low passes. You got Tony Allen screaming out first team all defense, and it was a very fun team to watch, even if you weren't into the slow grit and grind, muck it up type of style. That was my type of style, so I really just love watching it.
I love the old Grizzlies team that made it to the playoffs. I think they got bounced in the first round, but it was Pau Gasol. It was, I think, Shane Battier and White Chocolate with the blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
That team. I used to like that team for whatever. Bonzi Wells. Was it a team that did any damage or anything? No. But I remember watching that team growing up. Like, man, this team kind of high. I kind of like this team. Shout out to Coach Hubie. He coached them.
Mine is a little bit more recent than y'all's, but Ja had 26 and a quarter, and I thought that was just one of the best performances I've seen. Talk about players just having those quarters where they're in the zone like he couldn't miss, and honestly, that was probably one of my favorite times watching just Ja in action.
Yeah, I'm closer to Darrick. I love some good defense, and Tony Allen was one of the best wing perimeter defenders in all of basketball. And it was just fun to see him get after it every single game, dive on the floor for a loose ball, talk his trash, and tell the world that he should be first team all defense, because there were a few seasons where he should have got a defensive nod, where he absolutely didn't. So shout out to Chicago's very own Tony Allen. Next, I want to go to the Dallas Mavericks.
This one it has to be that fourth quarter from Dirk against the Heat. He was magical. They was down 20. And he willed them to a win and even had the game-sealing layup over Chris Bosh. Like, that fourth quarter was so crazy because it was like LeBron was supposed to get that ring that night. And then he came out there in that fourth quarter and just said, hell no. We might be on demand and we might not have the talent to match y'all, but my will to get this win is better than y'all's. And they switched to a zone. They made everything so fucking congested for the Heat. They didn't know what to do. And then they just went on and won it. That shit was amazing to watch. In Miami, too.
I'm right with you. I think it's the overall series just because the Heat was such the Goliath in that situation, and it felt like going into that series there was no way the Mavericks could win.
Yeah.
And they poured it out. That's also a team that got some guys that I really love, and Jason Kidd, Uncle Tyson Chandler. I love when a team like that can prevail to the top. You usually find yourself falling in love with a team like that, but you know it's going to end in a way. Mm-hmm. There's no way they can beat a team that has LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And they did it, and I still remember my favorite moment is when Wade and Bosh were Wade and Bron was mimicking Dirk being sick. I remember that.
Got the last laugh there.
They talking about some.
Yeah.
That was an epic moment for Dirk to pull that off.
Karma, baby. Really karma.
I would go either the Luka 60-point triple-double because that's just like a video game type thing, but I got to go with when he just destroyed the Suns, like embarrassed the whole franchise. I say in like a must-win game, he just comes out and dominates. And I just thought that was like, he was here. Mm-hmm. He was here. There wasn't no denying that.
So my favorite moment was the same thing y'all said. My second favorite moment was what you said. So I'll go and just say last year's playoffs, the step back over Rudy Gobert. It's just we can just go to a lot of Luka playoff moments, whether it be versus the Clippers in the bubble, even though they lost that series, and then step back against Rudy Gobert. And, yeah, he's just been a phenomenal playoff riser his entire career, and that doesn't stop. Next team, Houston Rockets.
Oh, easily Tracy McGrady against the Spurs, 13 seconds. Is it 11 points, 13 seconds?
Yeah.
That was just –
It's kind of hard to top that because, that was also a game that the arena was empty. Mm-hmm. The team, everybody in the arena was leaving. I couldn't imagine. I don't even know if phones was a notification thing back then, but like
they were flip-phone heavy.
Imagine looking at your phone, you left a game early and seeing that your team won, and you missed that historical comeback, and it's like.
So what would have happened at that time? They would have left. They would have probably turned on the radio. If you're a sports fan, you probably have like ESPN 1000, and you hearing like, or you might get a phone call
Yeah.
Or say like you're walking through the arena, you hear it on the announcements because they still like have it on the speakers.
Yeah.
For Rockets, I would probably go.
I also seen that game
live.
I think it was live.
I think this was just a regular season game, but this is when James Harden hit like that game-winning 3
on the Warriors.
Over
and he looked at
Klay
Draymond and
Thompson.
said, "You will." And I was like,
that probably should have been an and-1 too, but like that was when like the Warriors everybody wanted to see the Warriors fall, and to see James Harden just do that by himself, it was crazy.
He hit that over Klay and Draymond.
Yeah.
Like they both was.
Well, did he not get fouled?
He got fouled, but I don't think they called it.
I
don't think they called
it.
Yeah.
That's one of the toughest shots I think I've ever seen.
Given the stakes, I ain't mad at it. My favorite moment is seeing how they tried to build their team to keep Russ as a productive player, and they said anybody that's over 6'6", get the hell out of this team. It's going to be PJ. Well, I guess Robert Covington's 6'7", but like 6'7" and above, you can't be here. We're going to trade Clint Capella. We're going to get rid of all of these dudes, and we're going to run ultra small. And it was good enough to win a bunch of regular season games. Then they got to the playoffs. It became a struggle. But it was cool to see a team just be like, we just going to do things differently than any other team in NBA history.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Next team, the San Antonio Spurs.
One thing that came to mind is Danny Green hit like 8 threes in the NBA Finals, which was crazy. Because, like, that's not something you really hear of until, like, now where guys can do that. Also, the moment where LeBron was at the free throw line and Kawhi's coming to check in and he look over and he like, damn. And I was just like, oh, man, young Kawhi was really like that.
Mine is Kawhi too, but except it's in the playoffs against the Warriors where he's going to work. They're in Golden State. And unfortunately, Zaza Pachulia situation happened. But I really used to like that team where it was just like Kawhi and a bunch of really good basketball players, and they used to make it work. There was also opening night with the Warriors where Kawhi and LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, spoiled that night for them. That might have been like one of those season openers, like a ring ceremony night for the Warriors, and Kawhi was literally taking the ball out of Durant and Curry's hands, just like, like treating them like little kids.
For the Spurs, I would say definitely the Manu Ginobili dunk in the finals because I think it was on Chris Bosh, just because this is the old Spurs, like they on their last strides, and Manu Ginobili had the willpower to rise up and still dunk, and I felt like that was just an emphatic like turning table right there.
14 Spurs, 2013-2014 Spurs. They lose in the finals the previous year, and they were so close that the Larry O'Brien trophy was sitting courtside when Chris Bosh got that rebound to kick it out to Ray Allen. So to have the mental toughness to lose like that in the finals, then come back and be just as dominant and get their win. Also, not to mention, it was like the best offensively, like beauty of basketball. That team was exactly that. So I'm going to go with that. Shout out to Boris Diaw and comp.
Last team we got is the Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
Look at the Pelican fly.
It's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, I mean, it's just his era of him being there. Anthony Davis showed us why he was one of the best players in the world consistently. Like, he was so damn dominant. Like, he would have performances where he was out there going 50, 14 rebounds, and like 5 blocks. We really wasn't seeing any talent that could do something like that, especially when you're talking about being a 5 or a power forward. And then him coming along with Boogie.
Oh, man.
Man, when they got Boogie, it was like, we got the Twin Towers.
Oh, man.
And then they was just so damn good together to be two bigs. Everybody didn't think it would really work, but they made it work to a certain degree. Boogie got hurt right before the playoffs. I think if Boogie don't get hurt, they would have been a team that could really challenge the Warriors when you're talking about that size in that front court.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick hit it on the head, man. When they went and got Boogie and those guys was playing in the regular season and you would see their numbers, it would literally be like if me and Mike decided to make 2 bills like that and just go play pro. And I'm talking about you would see a guy have 24, 17, and 8, and the other guy got 32, 14, and 6. And they on the same team in the front court shooting threes, pick and rolling with each other. That was just such a vibe. I also love when they played against the Suns in the playoffs and Brandon Ingram was cooking Mikal Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
On that, before I get to mine, my favorite moment within that is Boogie got traded at All-Star, and that All-Star year was in New Orleans.
Yep.
And he was asked, like, what do you think about New Orleans? And his manager or his agent had just whispered that he got traded. He said, man, I love New Orleans. And I just thought that was
Isn't that where Anthony Davis had wore the DeMarcus
the next year?
The next year.
Oh, that was the next year.
He tore his Achilles. But lastly, my favorite moment for them, and sorry to do this to you, when they was locking up Dame and CJ in that playoffs, man.
Drew Holiday, Rondo.
Drew Holiday and Rondo. And was that a sweep or was that 5?
That was a sweep, I thought.
Crazy, bro.
Pretty sure they swept them.
Because I'm pretty sure the Blazers were the favorite in that series.
Yes, they were.
It got swept. Ridiculous.
This is going to go back. So I think this was like one of our first live shows we did. And Zion had made his debut, and we watched him. And he just looked like he was about to be the best player ever. Like, obviously, they was talking about his shooting. He hit like a couple threes.
Spurs.
He hit like his first 2 threes in the game. He was like, this is just like a Cinderella start for him. And I think he had a super big fourth quarter. Probably Zion's debut, just because we was all there to experience that.
And guess what? He ain't hit a 3 since that day.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Pink Diamond card drop.
Yeah.
Be sure to leave a like. Let us know your favorite moments from the Southwest Division. We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.